Namaste and welcome to this tutorial on pivot and pivot table. Now, what exactly do I mean when I say that I want to pivot a data frame? So let us look at these two statements. The first one is that I have understood the meaning of pivoting a data frame. The second one says that the meaning of pivoting a data frame has been understood by me. Now, do you see any difference in these two statements? No, right? These two are basically the active and passive voices of the same sentence. So this is what is meant by pivoting a data frame. When we pivot a data frame, we will just reshape it into a different form. Now, if you have watched the sitcom Friends, then you will notice that what we are trying to do with a data frame is exactly what Ross was trying to do with his sofa. He wanted to pivot his sofa in different directions so that it could reach his destination, which was his apartment. And here we will try to pivot our data frame into different structures to reach our ultimate destination, which is a much more cleaner and informative data analysis. And at the end of this lecture, if you find yourself yelling at me like Chandler, then please apprise me of the same in the comment section below. Else, if you like this video, then please upvote it and subscribe to my channel as a small token of appreciation. Now, just a small disclaimer before we begin. The visual representation that I will be showing you in the next few slides might not be the exact way the Pandas developers coded pivot and pivot table methods, but it is important to understand what is actually happening behind the scenes when you call pivot and pivot table, and hence the next few slides will serve as the perfect example to make you understand what is happening behind the scenes basically. Now, for example, if I have this small data frame which has 4 columns of brand, location, model and sales. Now, what if I want to pivot this data frame into a form where I have all the brands as my index levels and all my locations as my column levels? So I can easily do that by calling a pandas. This PD stands for pandas, so I'll say pandas.pivot. Then I'll call the data frame name, that which data frame do I want to work upon. I'll say df is the name of this data frame. Now I'll say index is equal to brand because I want the brands to be at my index level. And I'll say columns is equal to location, so all my columns will be populated with the location. And the values are basically the numerical values that I want. Pandas will first make an empty data frame of this sort by sorting all those index levels and the column levels. Now it is time to pivot our data frame. Now pandas will look at the first row. It will see that the brand is Tata, location is India and the sales is 100. So at the intersection of Tata and India, it will place 100. Similarly for Tesla and US, it will place 75 at the intersection. Then for Audi and Germany, it will place an 84 here, and for BMW and Germany it will place a 92 here. Now you can see here, initially we had used pd.pivot and passed in an argument of data is equal to df, right? And here I have written df.pivot. So you can do it both ways. You can either call it as a top level method of pandas, or you can call this pivot method as an instance of this data frame, right? So if you call this as an instance of this data frame df, then you no longer need to pass in the data argument because you have already specified that before. Now, what do you think will happen if I were to add another row to this data frame which has a brand of Tesla and the location of US? Now, do you think this 40 will replace this existing value of 75? Or do you think this 75 will keep its place and this 40 row will be discarded? So now this is where pivot fails, and pivot will basically get in a fix as to what to do now, and it will throw you a value error saying index contains duplicate entries and it cannot reshape. So when it says this error, it basically means that you have multiple entries here of Tesla US and Tesla US. So pivot cannot handle this scenario, and this is where a pivot table comes into the picture. A pivot table is basically a generalized form of pivot, and it can handle overlapping values. By overlapping, I mean, like we saw in the previous slide, we had Tesla US of 75 and Tesla US of 40. So pivot couldn't handle it, but pivot table can handle it. Now, to handle these overlapping values, pandas needs you to provide an extra argument called aggregation function, and here you can pass in any of the numerical aggregation functions like mean, median, mode, count, sum, min, max, variance, etc. Okay, so the default one is mean. By default, the pivot table has an aggregation function of mean. So if I execute this code, then pandas will take into account both the overlapping values, and it will take the average of those values and place this 57.5 here. Now you can see here that Tata India 100 is still 100, because since we have only one value, then it doesn't really matter whether we take a mean of it or not, and hence the other values keep their original positions. Now we will look at a few examples. First, we will import the pandas as PD. Then this is the data frame that I used in the slides before. Okay, with only the first 4 rows. Now if I call a pivot on this data frame and only with values is equal to sales, you would see that we get the same data frame as before. Now if I do not pass this fill NA, you will see that we have nan values here, because there was no value for at the intersection of Audi and India, so it filled with nans. So to make it more readable, we can pass in an argument of fill NA, and we can fill this NA value, all those NA values, and we can specify the value that we want to replace this nan values with. So I'll say fill NA 0. So all those nan values will be replaced with zeros. Now, as I told you that instead of calling pd.pivot and including this argument of data is equal to df, now here I passed in only values is equal to sales, but here I'll pass in a list of all the columns that I want as my values. Okay, so it will be much more clear when I execute this code. Now as you can see here, it doesn't really matter whether I pass in the index first and then the columns and then the values. I can do it in any order, right? I can pass in the index at the last and the values and the columns at the first. So if I execute this, so it will give me a multi-index. So if you look closely, what is happening is for each of those values, right? For I have asked for two values of model and sales. So model and sales are here, and then for each of those values, it is giving me all the possible locations here, right? For example, for the model column, it is giving me locations of Germany, India, US, and then for sales, it is giving me Germany, India, US. So if I were to explain this, how this data frame is working, I'll say that under the model column, I have a sub column of Germany, and then for brand of Audi, I can see that it is Q3. So for Audi Germany, the model is Q3, right? Then for Tata and India, the model is Ace. Then for Tata and India, the sales was 100. This values argument, if you do not pass in this values argument, then you see what will happen. It will again give me the same result. This is because when we do not pass in any values argument, pandas will remove the columns that I have used as my index and columns, and then it will pass in all the other unused columns in my values argument. And hence you see that even if I do not pass in any values argument, it has seen that the location and the brand is used up by the column and index, and hence the model and sales remain. Okay, so I'll place this here again. Now we'll quickly add another row to this data frame of Tesla US Model S and the sales of 40, as we saw in the slides before, and I'll append this series of Tesla underscore S to this my original data frame. As you can see here, I now have this new row appended to my original data frame. If I call a df.pivot, I'll show you how it will throw me an error. If I call df.pivot now, it will throw me a value error saying that index contains duplicate entries and it cannot reshape, right? Just as we saw in the slides before. And hence now we need to use pivot table method here. Now you can see here it is the same thing basically, but I'm passing an index, the columns, the values that I want, and then I'm also specifying the aggregation function here. Now you can see that since I passed an aggregation function of mean, it has discarded the model column, because model column was a string column, right? And it cannot it cannot take a mean of AS3, Q3 and Z4, and hence it has automatically discarded this column and only given me the sales column, and it is giving me the mean of all those overlapping values. So if I pass in here, for example, max, it will give me the maximum values of, it will give me that maximum value of 75 for Tesla in US. And now if you see here, interestingly enough, pandas has given me the max values of this model column also. So it has taken, for example, Audi Q3, there was only one value, so Q3 keeps its place. But for Tesla, we had two options for S and 3. So maybe it compared the ASCII values and any other criteria that it uses to figure out the max of all those values. Now what if I do not want the max of both these columns, but I want, for example, I want to count the occurrences of each model, and I want the total number of sales of each of those locations of each of these columns. So I can also pass in different aggregation functions for different values. For example, for the model values, if I want the count, so I can pass this count as a string. Then for example, for the sales column, if I want sum, so now if you see here, for model, it is giving me the total number of counts of each occurrence. So for Audi Germany model, there was only one value, so it is showing us one. For Tesla US, we had two models, so it is showing us two. And now for sales, we see here that sales, it is showing us the sum, the total number of sales, right? Because when we see for Tesla and US, it is giving us 115. So I can also pass in here mean, just to show you what I mean. Okay, so you can see a 57.5 now. Now just for another example, we will see how we can give a multi-index in my columns or in my index labels. Okay, so if I want a multi-index in my index, I'll say brand, and suppose if I want model also here, so I'll remove this model here for now. Now you see that for each of those brands, I now have all the models that were represented by that brand as my index now. For example, if you see Tesla here, Tesla had two models, 3 and S, and hence it is showing me as a multi-index here. And I asked for the values of sales, but it is also giving me model here because I've given an aggregation function of count here. So I'll remove this. Now you see that it is a much more cleaner data frame now. Now I can quickly say that for Tesla S model, there were 40 units sold in the US and none models sold in Germany and India. So now we will see a real life example of how we can use pivot and pivot table on real life data sets. So I'll first import the data frame. It is an Airbnb data frame, and for this example, I'll just take load in the first 10,000 rows. It contains over 48,000 rows, but 10,000 will suffice for this example. Okay, so this should be read underscore CSV. Now for example, if the question at my hand is to compare the prices within each neighborhood group and between each room type, okay, so we can simply say b dot pivot table. Then since I have passed in the data frame name here, so I'll just simply say index is equal to, for example, if I want this neighborhood group on my index level, then at the column level I need the room type. Now this will become much more clear when you see the output data frame. And then for my values, I need my price column. So now you see how with this just one line of code, we have managed to filter our data frame. And now we can see that for Manhattan and for a private room, the mean price is $109. I'll say agfunk. Now by default, if we see here, it will tell us it is mean. So if I change this agfunc to, for example, max, so it will tell us the max price in each of those column and index intersections. For example, in Bronx private room the maximum price was 680. For Manhattan, for entire home apartment it was around $10,000. That is a pretty huge amount. In Queens also it was $10,000. If along with my room type I want to also see minimum nights. So now as you can see here, for each of those room types, for example for entire home apartment, for private room and for shared room, and for each of those minimum nights values we have this data frame. For example for entire home apartment, for each of those minimum nights available in my data frame, for example in this data frame the minimum nights are 1 1 3 1 10 3 5. For all these values I have. So for each of those minimum nights it is giving me the price for each of those neighborhood groups. So you can see the way in which we can manipulate this pivot table, and pivot is endless. We can have any number of indexes here, any number of columns here, any number of values here, and any number of aggregation functions here, as we saw in this example here when we gave different aggregation functions for different values here, for different value columns here, right? So it is your decision what you want in the output data frame and how you want to analyze your data. So this pivot table and pivot are very powerful in their own regard. So now just before we sign off, I would like to also give you another data frame, which is slash AutoMPG. Okay, so this is the data frame. So as you can see here, this is a data frame of a few cars and the number of cylinders they have, the displacement, the horsepower of those cars, the weight, acceleration, model, what year the car model is from, and the origin. Now it doesn't really matter whether you understand all these columns or not. What is important is that you try out different values, different columns, different indexes, and different aggregation functions here to see what different results you can achieve and how you can make your data analysis more informative. That is how you can extract more information from this data frame. For example, if we see only one example here, I'll say a dot pivot table, and I'll say, for example, if I want the origin as my axis, as my index, so my index is origin, and for my columns if I want, for example, the model year. Okay, model year I need to pass in as a string. For values, if I want, for example, if I want the number of cylinders, so I'll say cylinders, and the aggregation function is by default mean. So you can see here for each of those model years in this data frame of 70, 71 until 82, and for each of those origins I now have this small data frame. So I can easily say that if the origin is 3 and the year is 78, I have the mean cylinder as 4. Now as you would have guessed here, it would be a sensible decision to include only categorical variables in as your index and column values, because for example you see here that origin we have now 3 values and hence we can do a quick analysis. For model year we have 10 to 12 values and hence we can do analysis. But for example if I say if I want the displacement, which is a continuous variable, so if I want displacement as my continuous variable, now you can see here we have 82 columns here and it gets very difficult, and it is frankly not a good analysis. It doesn't really, it has too many nan values and it doesn't really offer much analysis. If I were to include my index as acceleration, you would see what the end result would be. You see we have so many nan values and such a huge data frame, and it isn't really offering us any insights. We have 82 columns and 95 rows. So you see it is up to the user, up to the coder to decide what values he or she should use as the column and index values. So I think that would be all for today. So we have covered quite a few things here in pivot and pivot table, and how we can make different indexes, different columns, different values, different aggregation functions, where pivot table is used, where pivot and pivot table are differentiated, where we have to use pivot table instead of pivot. I hope you found this tutorial interesting and informative, and I hope you learned from it. Now, to solidify what you have understood here, it is important that you try on your own. So your task for today is trying out different combinations for each of the index column and the values column and the values arguments, by passing in lists of different columns and trying to understand yourself how these are working, and which will give you more informative analysis and which won't help you at all. Please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in the next lecture. Thank you.